welcome to another vlog. Tomorrow night I will be at Halifax City Hall attending an art show for artists with disabilities put on by the JRG Society for the Arts. So if you're in the area, please drop by and see some great art. Anyway, this week's theme is dialysis. But first I have an exciting announcement. I will be performing in Muscular Dystrophy Canada's Lip Sync Battle 2.0 this Friday, November 9th at Casino Nova Scotia. The event is put on by Muscular Dystrophy Canada each year to raise money for individuals and their families affected by neuromuscular disorders, and is usually accompanied by a live auction, and of course this year will be no different. Now, the lip sync battle itself is judged by Rouge Fatale and Devastation, two local drag queens who also perform in the lip sync battle, but obviously they're not competing. And each year, Jason Baxter, Anna Almeida, and Cyril Lenny from CTV also show up and do a performance, and they'll be returning again this year. And CTV will even be filming some of the event live. So at the event, each act takes turns lip syncing and dancing to 1 to 2 songs of their choice, usually in costume. And speaking from experience, the acts tend to be hilarious. So each act takes turns performing their first song, and then after the first round, the finalists move on to round 2, where they perform their second song and compete for the grand prize, which is a lip sync trophy and, of course, bragging rights. Now, this is my first year performing in the lip sync battle, and I'm very excited about it. And of course, the challenge will be to dethrone last year's champion, Cody Rogers, who has actually won the last 4 lip sync battles. Now, obviously, it'll be very difficult because his reputation precedes him, but I'm confident that I'll be giving him and the rest of the acts a run for their money. Now, I don't want to talk a lot about my performance in particular because I want it to be a surprise for the audience. But I'll be sure to update everyone next week about what my performance was and how it went. So tune in if you want to see that video. And on Saturday, I'll be sure to post some images from my performance on Instagram for anyone who wants to see them. So now I want to talk a little bit about this week's theme, which is dialysis. So dialysis is a procedure for individuals with end-stage kidney failure, which essentially artificially cleans the blood. And there's 2 main types of dialysis which I'd like to talk about. There's hemodialysis and there's peritoneal dialysis. Now, hemodialysis is the most common type of dialysis, and it's performed using a machine. So the blood enters the machine and it passes through a special membrane where it goes through the process of osmosis and diffusion alongside the dialysis fluid, also known as dialysate. And it's all about equilibrium, right? So it's about balancing the contents of the blood with the contents of the dialysis fluid. So there's a lot of chemistry involved in that. Now, hemodialysis is often performed at a hospital with doctors and nurses present to kind of oversee the procedure, but it can be performed at home once the patient stabilizes. So, typically you'll start out getting hemodialysis performed at a hospital or a clinic, and then once your condition stabilizes, then you have the option of performing it at home, depending on your specific situation. The hemodialysis has to be performed about 3 times a week and usually takes about 4 hours. And then there's the next kind of dialysis. This is called peritoneal dialysis. Now, unlike peritoneal dialysis, this kind of dialysis actually takes place right within the body. So they use a catheter to inject the dialysis fluid right into the abdominal or peritoneal cavity, and that's where the process of osmosis and diffusion takes place. And again, it's the same thing. It's all about creating equilibrium between the blood and the dialysis fluid, and there's a lot of chemistry involved in that. Now, peritoneal dialysis needs to be performed several times a day, and it only takes about 40 minutes. But unlike hemodialysis, it's usually performed at home, and it can even be performed at night while the patient's sleeping. So basically, to recap, hemodialysis is more common and is performed with a machine, whereas peritoneal dialysis is performed in the body. Hemodialysis takes longer but has to be performed less frequently than peritoneal dialysis, and peritoneal dialysis can be performed at home or while the patient's sleeping, whereas hemodialysis is usually performed in a hospital setting, although it can sometimes be performed at home. right? So that's just a brief overview of the two main kinds of dialysis. Um, I felt that this was a really interesting topic this week, and I thought it was a good follow up to last week's topic, which was chronic kidney disease. Anyway, on Thursday, I'll be releasing a video in which I talk more about what dialysis is, how it works, and why it's important. So, subscribe if you want to see that video. And also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if you want to stay up to date with all things Squeaky Bill Productions. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more videos like this one, then please support me on Patreon. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you on Thursday.